Hello beautiful ginger snaps. It is week 209 and we are talking about easy spells versus hard spells, but I don't like how that's worded, so really it's going to be simplistic spells versus complicated spells. I'm going to kind of expand on a lot of what Corvus Divinicus and Drew have already said, but I will start with, in my personal practice, a spell is a petition for co-creation into the universe. So personally, I feel that if you do a spell and it does not come to fruition, it is because you have a mental block about your co-creation with the universe. Everything that is in existence at some point was a thought, was an idea for co-creation with the universe, and now it exists. So, Drew has talked about this a little bit. So in my personal practice, a simple spell would be things like a candle lighting, a simple prayer, a petition of some sort. Some people petition saints, I just petition the universe. Cord magic is pretty common in my practice. Things that are pretty simple. Throwing salt sometimes. And a complicated spell or spellcrafting. The most complicated thing I do takes 14 days. Well, the most common complex thing that I do takes 14 days. Each ingredient is given a day. It is implicative to how to empower that ingredient, and then they are blended together in their own ceremony. So, I mean, you can, I don't normally work with planetary hours, but moon phases are pretty important. Where we are as far as what planet is in the forefront, whether it's Mars or Jupiter or Pluto or Saturn or, you know, all of those things. That's pretty concurrent for me. With the more complex things, I generally write them down, just so that I can remember how it's been petitioned, what the wording is. Intent is, I like to say intent is 3/4 of the law. However, sometimes I think it's the way that you word it. And even if you spend days, hours, months formulating a spell, if it's not quite right, then, and you have a block about it, then going back, revisiting it, and tweaking it until you get to a point where it aligns with what your true desire is. I tend to also be an off-the-cuff spellcrafting individual. Candle primarily is what I do. I'll go find a candle, write my petitions, burn the petitions in the candle. It's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. Very rarely do I do I think we all have a generalized perspective of what is simple and what is complex. However, I think that the primary thing that's important in all spellcrafting is how we weave the web of intention and the ingredients that we add in, whether the intention and the ingredient is a prayer for good health or a new job and a string, or whether the web is sacred geometry and herbs and planetary hours and moon phases and planetary focuses. Regardless of what your spellcrafting is, if you hone your consistent practice, even something very simple that doesn't take very much time may not be as effective for your practice as something complex. And so I think spellcrafting is extremely individual to a practice of each individual person, and something that's continuously changing and molding. I've had seasons in my practice where every spell was complex and every spell was multifaceted, because that's what I needed in that time. And there have been times when it has all been extremely simple, very quick, intuitive messages, because that's what I needed at the time. Regardless, it's a continuous co-creation with the universe, It's what spellcrafting continues to be. So I'm interested what you guys think in the comment section below.